AITA for not including trans sister in my wedding party. So this happened last year. I got engaged back in 2018 and chose my wedding party. 3 of my closest friends and my fiancé chose his brother and 2 of his friends. Growing up, I was not close to my younger sister, then brother. There wasn't any bad blood or anything, we just don't have a lot in common and barely speak. About 2 months before my wedding, my sister came out as a trans woman. I was happy for her that she's finally living her true life. Shortly after, she approached me and asked to be one of my bridesmaids, saying that it would basically be a sort of milestone for her in her new life as a woman. I told her no, because we already had everything planned out, and the wedding was just a few weeks away. I told her I fully supported her if she wanted to wear a dress to the wedding, but it would be hard to include her at that last minute. She said she understood and didn't bring it up again. She ended up not attending the wedding, despite saying yes. My parents and I tried reaching out several times over last year to see if she was okay, but she kept telling us she was fine and that she needed to be alone. We finally talked recently and she told me she boycotted my wedding because she knew the reason that I didn't want her as a bridesmaid was that she looked very masculine still. That isn't true at all. She insists that if I didn't find the way she looked objectionable, I would have included her. AITA? NTA. People will always make someone else's wedding about themselves. She should have spoken more with you about it instead of boycotting your wedding altogether. The thing is, you don't ask to be a part of the bridal party, you are asked by the bride. And that close to the wedding it would be hard to add an extra person in, and if op paid for the dresses that's another expense they didn't budget for. Plus the hair and makeup cost, and the cost of the bachelorette party. It's also so weird she boycotted and took it as op being transphobic when they weren't even close, and therefore she wouldn't have been asked anyway. I completely agree. It would be one thing if the sister was upset because she had previously been included as a groomsman or something and was de facto removed from the wedding party when she transitioned. But if they weren't close enough for the sister to be included before, why would she be entitled to spot in the wedding party after, especially at the last minute? I mean, even if she was originally in the wedding party, it would be totally justified if she was unable to be a bridesmaid. In my area, dresses should be ordered 3 to 6 months in advance, so coming out 2 months before the wedding, it just would not have been feasible for her to be a bridesmaid. NTA who invites themselves into the bridal party 2 months before the wedding? Yay, real shit thing to do. Your sister is making it about herself, not a bridal party. But my first cousin had RSVP no to attend my wedding because she would be the hairdresser to a friend's wedding, and I was okay with it. It's her job, and a couple days before the wedding my aunt called me to include her, so I had to rearrange all the sitting at the after party just for her and her husband. Ugh, worst part about that is that she got her mother to call you instead of putting on her big girl pants. Really adds to the ancillary factor. If that was anything like my family, the cousin may have protested, knowing it was rude after change last minute, but is in possession of maternal steamroller who took it upon herself and then had to attend because her mom had done this rude thing. NTA. Whole wedding was planned and just a few weeks away. The day was about you and your now husband, not about her reaching a milestone. As harsh as that sounds, it's true. It wasn't about her. Doesn't even sound harsh at all. It just literally was not. NTA, your wedding isn't her coming out party. Like you said, you already chose your bridesmaids and your husband had his bridal party chosen. And it was just a few weeks before your wedding. NTA. Right. And since there are normally the same number of bridesmaids and groomsmen, your fiancé would have to dig up another groomsman. How could he do that at this point without looking like a jerk? I was a bridesmaid, and ordering the dress took over a month. I can't imagine trying to do it in a couple of weeks. NTA. Your brother was not in the wedding party, so transitioning and becoming your sister changes nothing. She's acting very entitled and trying to use her minority status to shame you into apologizing. Do not apologize. I also wonder if she was trying to hijack your special day to show off her new gender at a party you paid for. Not cool. So many people on this sub hijack other people's events. It's not funny anymore. OMG, why do so many people think it's okay to wear a white dress / propose / announce pregnancies at other people's weddings? So tacky. NTA was fully prepared to say to her if you'd had a problem with considering her a woman or letting her wear a dress to your wedding or something, but yeah, NTA, she would have a legitimate complaint if she'd asked you ages ago and you'd been evasive or rejected her for transphobic reasons. But that shortly before the wedding, it's obviously tough to include another person in the bridal party. Her insecurities are normal, but it's not fair to project them onto you. To be honest, I would not have included her, even if she asked me before, because we are not close, never have been. My friends who were my bridesmaids are much closer to me than me and her. I just wanted my wedding party to be made up of people I was actually close to, and not people I was obligated to include. IDK if that maybe makes me an asshole? Nope. Still NTA. Your wedding party is for those you are closest to. Simple as that. And as was pointed out earlier, this wasn't about supporting you on your big day, it was about hijacking it to come out as trans. Not the time or the place or the setting, it was damn tacky of her. Disappearing for a year after just makes it worse. Yeah, still NTA. Your wedding and your bridal party is about you. Like, I can't check your biases for you, but it sounds like you sincerely don't have a problem with her being trans and she's projecting. I would have maybe gone with nah, because insecurities about being included in gender specific activities are super salient to a newly out trans person, and I empathize with that, except that it sounds like she didn't even approach it. Like, we may not be super close, but you're still my sibling, and I would like to support you on your wedding day as your sister, but as I would like to be in the bridal party because being in a bridal party would really validate me as a woman regardless of the actual nature of your relationship. And then she boycotted the wedding without actually communicating her feelings to you up front to try and talk it out. That's dumb and immature. Thanks. I don't have any issue with her being trans. I'm genuinely glad that she can be who she really is. Yeah, the way she asked was framed like it was an event in her transition, and not like she wanted to be a part of a group that was supposed to support me. You are NTA for not including your sibling. My husband did not include his brother in our wedding party for the same reason. They weren't close. My brother, on the other hand, was a groomsman because he's actually friends with my husband. They're more brothers than his actual brother. This seems pretty obvious to me because she wasn't part of the wedding party before coming out either. If you'd been close, you would found a way to incorporate your then brother. If that had been the case, and she was asking to change roles, that would be different. But since you aren't even close enough to have included her before she was a woman, totally NTA for not changing all your wedding plans for her just because she changed. I would even bring this up to her. Like, no offense, but you know we've never been that close. I didn't ask you to be in the wedding before you came out, so I think it's unfair to expect me to add you after. Our relationship didn't magically become closer when your gender changed. There's probably a less blunt way to put that. I'm too straightforward for most people's taste. But hopefully you see what I meant. NTA. She realized she couldn't make a statement by being a bridesmaid and didn't see any other purpose for attending the wedding. She's here. You've hit the nail on the head. She had no intention of celebrating her sister's wedding. She just wanted to make the party all about herself. NTA, you told her why she couldn't be a bridesmaid. Not your fault they want to twist your reasoning. NTA for a number of reasons. 1. She was never in the bridal party to begin with. 2. It's your wedding day, emphasis on your, which leads to 3. In the name of all that is holy, will people stop hijacking other people's events for their own look at me moment? NTA. Your sister has a lot going on and was projecting her insecurities onto the situation. I hope you'll continue to reach out to her, because sometimes hindsight is 20/20, and she may one day realize she has you in her corner, even if she didn't think so. Good luck. NTA. And this kind of reminds me of an AITA the other day where Op's gay friend was accusing him of homophobia because Op, didn't approve of his friend proposing to his boyfriend publicly at a wedding, mere moments after the bride and groom were announced. His concern was about etiquette, not sexuality, in the same way your sister seems to have made this about her gender, when it doesn't sound like you made it about that at all. NTA. The wedding was only a few weeks away, kind of hard to just add someone to the wedding party then. She might not really understand what goes into planning a wedding. Nap, you are 100% not an asshole here. Your sister is making a harsh accusation, but she is only doing so after being prodded about it for a year almost. She clearly wanted to work though her insecurity on her own and not cause waves. It's better for her to be honest than lie, so you both can work though this together finally. When you first come out it's easy to be woefully insecure. I noticed this even more so in the trans feminine people I know. She was just figuring out who she is and starting from near scratch. Think back to high school/teen years. Every teenager is constantly worrying about what other people think of them and assume others are judging them, even when it's not the case. This is because teenagers don't have a fully developed sense of self, so others' opinions becomes a big deal due to a lack of self-confidence in oneself. We call transitioning second puberty for a reason. Not just the HRT changes our bodies and emotions. When you realize you're transgender you also realize that big part of your life was not correct. That you more or less were faking things to fit in. So you can start wondering, what else about me is false? As well as learning that a lot of social norms and expectations for you was built around a gender you are not. So then you start trying to figure out what you can do and who you are without those preset guidelines to light the way forward, so to speak. It does push you to redefine your sense of self. Now add on top of that, transphobia actually exists. People have murdered other people for being part of your community more or less, or have been kicked out of their homes, etc. All things considered, it's not surprising that for some transgender people when freshly out of the closet, can be hyper aware and sensitive of possible criticism and rejection from others, even when none actually exists. Like in your case, you were in no way transphobic or did the wrong thing. You told her the truth, gave her an explanation, and had good reasoning in saying no, and gave her an opportunity to express and be herself at your wedding. I can't think of a better way to have handled it. You did everything right here. Your sister unfortunately has a brain predisposed to jumping to worst case scenarios right now due to a lack of self-confidence. She jumped to unfair, but understandable false conclusions. Talk to her, explain you missed seeing her at your wedding, and maybe suggest a shopping trip or gift her some old feminine items of yours that you won't use anymore. The conversation alone can be helpful if you focus on supporting her. That's all she needs, really, support. She will be able to see how ludicrous she was when she has more confidence. That will grow in time. Thank you all. If story will have update, will post here. Do comment about the story, like and subscribe for upcoming stories.